Hey parents, have you been wondering how you can actually stop or control your child from crying? How you can control your child's tantrums, or how you can resolve your child's tantrums, or how you can help your child who's going through tantrums, not just once or twice but repeatedly, right? Not just once a day but multiple times in a day, every day, right? You sleep with the child, maybe going through some tantrums. You wake up going through your child going through some tantrums, right? Maybe I want that bed sheet, I want this color pillow, I want something that is, some things that you could provide, some things that you may not provide, but that you cannot provide, right? Some things that is okay to give them, but some things that are dangerous to give them. There are so many categories of situations, of experiences through which your child continues to throw tantrums. And remember, every experience of tantrum that your child is going through is an experience of learning for your child, right? Your child is learning how you are responding to your child. Your child is learning how you, probably already loaded with stress, are actually attending to your child. Your child is learning how one needs to frame words to actually understand what the other person is going through, seeing the way how you are doing it. And if you're not doing it, the child is learning the same, right? So in this video, as you see in the screen here, there are three things that I'm going to discuss. So the first one being things that do not work, right? All these random parenting tips, tricks, techniques, hacks, suggestions that you get from all over the place, and even from the internet, except from your true self, right? You're getting everything, you're getting all these from all around the place. Why? These do not work. And then the next one is some pointers which we're going to again go into how you can actually handle such experiences of your child's repeated meltdowns. And then the third point, and a very important point, is the action step. So let's go straight into this video. Now, if you look at what do not work, things that do not work, so what's the most common suggestion that you get to hear, be it from other adults around you, or be it from internet, or from Facebook or Google, or these, again, all these parenting tips, tricks, techniques and hacks that do their rounds, viral rounds. So yeah, the most common suggestion that you get to hear is ignore the child's cry for 2 times or 3 times, and then your child will set right. Your child will become right. Or divert your child from whatever she is asking for, whatever she is crying for, whatever she is maybe wanting at that point of time. So either ignore or divert, right? So ignoring and diverting is the most common suggestion that you get to hear. If you agree with me, just type out common in the chat box under this video. So yeah, what happens when you are actually ignoring and diverting your child's cry? Let's see what happens, right? When you are ignoring your child's cry, in a way, you are teaching your child to ignore his or her emotions, some things that are going inside of him, right? When you are diverting your child's cry, when you are diverting your child from what she wants, in a way, you are teaching your child that you got to divert yourself from what you truly want and get on with an ordinary life, right? So now, when you ignore, let's be frank, okay? Let's be frank. 95 to 98% of adults right now at this point of time, right? They don't know, you don't know, you're not aware of your emotions that are actually running inside of you. You've said something, but you don't know why you said that. Maybe you were angry, maybe you were irritated at that point of time, maybe you were frustrated. All these are valid emotions, but the thing is, you're not aware of your emotions at a certain point of time, and you're reacting in a certain way. And after 1 hour or 2 hours, you're feeling bad about it. Oh, I should not have done that. Oh, I should not have reacted that way. And even at that point of time, one is rarely aware of one's emotions. Are you angry? Are you irritated? Are you frustrated? Are you shamed? Are you embarrassed that you're getting late for your office? What was the root emotion within you which caused you to act this way, right? People rarely know about this. Again, specifically, adults rarely know this. It is about coming into awareness with your emotions that are inside of you. Not something that you can see, not something that you can take in through your 5 physical senses, but something that are running inside of you, right? And you are directing your life through these emotions. So when you are again, coming back, when you are again ignoring or diverting your child's cries, in a way you are teaching the same to your child, or probably, most probably, even you've been trained so. And that is the reason again why 98% of people out there, we don't know why we do what we do. We're not aware of our emotion. Maybe we are sad and then we shout out at some people. But maybe 2 days after that or 5 days after that, we realized I was actually feeling sad and I was in a bad mood, and that is the reason I shouted out at that person, right? But even coming into awareness at this point of time could be possible for some, or could be challenging for some. You know where you stand. It's just about you. At this point of time, it is about you. How aware are you of your own emotions? Are you tired of your office work? Are you overloaded? Are you overwhelmed with your office work? Are you angry with your office work? Are you irritated of your office work? Maybe it's something that is routine and maybe you are irritated. Are you confused about your office work? What is the emotion that is getting triggered inside of you because of the office work, which made you react in a certain way towards your child? You know the reaction and you are justifying yourself with the office work. But what happens in between is the emotion that is unresolved, is the emotion that is unattended. It's not attended to. And piled up emotions create diseases in the body. They create pain in the body. Yeah, not going much into that, but still, yeah. Now when you are ignoring and diverting your child's cries, your child also in a way is learning to ignore what she truly wanted at that point of time, or ignore her emotions, right? Ignore her feelings. No, that's okay. I don't think I'm feeling right. I don't think I should think about my feeling. It's not right for me to even think about my feeling. Leave about communicating my feeling to my parent. I shouldn't even think about my feeling. I should divert. I should ignore my feeling, right? That is what your child is learning from you, ignoring your child's cries. Or diverting oneself from what he or she truly wanted to do at that point of time, and doing what is in general expected to be done at that point of time, right? Okay, if I do this, people are okay with me, people are happy with me, let me just do it. Let me divert myself from what my intuition wants to whatever people are expecting me to do, right? Do you see this even in your life? Just dig around, just dig into your own self and identify what is happening inside of you. And that is when you will also understand what shouldn't be happening in your child's, inside of your child, right? It's not about how the external life is looking of your child, but it is about what kind of internal thing is happening in your child because of your unresolved emotions, right? You should come into awareness of that aspect. And then the next thing that doesn't work is comparing or judging. Or judging could be you are always maybe in a way comparing could be your sister is so happy with that, but you are always crying. Your friends are all okay with what your teacher asked them to do, but you do not like to do, and you are again crying, right? Comparing to somebody else. Your child is already a unique being. You don't need to compare your child to anybody. You don't need to compare yourself with anybody. Each one's journey is unique, right? So this comparing is one thing that does not work. And then the next thing is invalidation. That means thinking low or validating low of the child's needs or desire or want, or let's say it's a need. Okay, there's a need behind the child's cry. So when you are saying that's so silly, why do you want to cry for that? Oh my God, you're such a big girl and you're still crying for this, right? So when for your child it was a priority. For your child it was a priority, but for you it could be trivial, right? You are looking at from some other perspective. Your child is at another perspective. You just cannot judge, or you cannot talk anything about this situation from your perspective and invalidate your child's perspective, right? So you cannot do that. You cannot say that, saying maybe oh my god, you're already a 5-year-old and you're still crying, right? Or this is such a simple thing and you're crying for this. Oh my god, are you serious about it, right? Something like that. And then the fourth one that doesn't work is labeling the child. You are such an angry person, or something like you are always crying, or you are a troublemaker, you make me sad, you create trouble, right? Or you are such an angry girl, you are an adamant girl, you are an arrogant girl, right? All these are very common, again, very common, that they were common when you were a child. Just understand this. Again, this is not about pointing any of your adults in your life, right? Big respects, big pranams to all the adults out there. Each one is parenting based on the level of awareness and their consciousness at that point of time. I'm only helping you to raise your level of awareness and consciousness, right? Yeah, so maybe you have also went through the same journey, and that is what is making you take your child through the same journey, through a similar journey. You can think about it, you can dig in your own mind, in your own experiences, and see for yourself, right? This is a precise reason why I also have, in my coaching program, I also have Heal Your Inner Child as a very most important pillar for parenting, or even to live your true life. To live your true life, you need to heal your inner child, right? So that's a very important aspect to do. Yeah, getting back to labeling. So when you are labeling your child, you are associating your child with anger. No, your child is not an angry child. Your child cannot become an angry child, cannot become an arrogant child, cannot become a greedy child, right? Your child has this feeling of anger. She's going through anger. She's feeling angry. Label the emotion. Instead of labeling the child, label the emotion. Identify the emotion. Instead of ignoring that emotion, identify that emotion. This will actually help your child to be emotionally intelligent. And then you are running behind classes, emotional intelligence classes, draw smiley faces, put a tick mark at the person who is smiling, put a cross mark at the person who is crying in the class. No, your child has already put a tick mark or a cross mark against you in your child's mind, in his or her mind, through all these experiences. Whether you have supported her in her tantrums, or whether you have ignored her or diverted her during her tantrums, right? So yes, your child is going through certain emotion. It's about helping the child to identify that emotion and being with the child at that point of time, instead of labeling the child. Instead of labeling the child, label the emotion, label the feeling, identify the emotion, identify the feeling, right? For all this to happen, let me make this point clear. For all this to happen, for you to do all this to your child, main important thing is you have to do this to your own self. You have to implement this on your own self. You have to identify your feelings. You have to identify your emotions, right? And then that simply starts reflecting in the way you are parenting, right? It's about bringing awareness into your own self first, and then passing it down to your child, right? So these are some things that do not work, and more than doing any good, they actually do harm. They actually damage the child's subconscious with false beliefs and false thoughts and limiting thoughts. Now, some important pointers. Let's discuss this. Some important pointers is, we have to identify the feeling first. So how do you process this? You have to identify the feeling, identify the emotion, and then help the child to resolve that emotion. Okay, it's not so easy as I'm telling you, but it depends on the unique situation that you are with the child, and it comes with practice. With practice, not upon your child, not experimenting on your child, but experimenting on your own self, practicing on your own self, right? So it is about identifying the feeling, identifying the needs, identifying the triggers, and then coming up or resolving the emotion, or coming up with a solution to meet the need, right? And then, let me talk about this. This is a very important thing. So when the child is crying, right? The child is crying here. Child is crying, the child is rolling on the floor crying in the supermarket. child is creating a disturbance in your sight. That is what you are seeing. That is in the scene. That is what you are seeing. Okay, let me keep it simple. So yeah, how does your child cry? Let me also go into it. Your infant does more of crying. Your toddler does more of rolling on the floor, crying, banging, pushing, kicking, hitting, punching, right? And then your preschooler may be doing more of shouting, no, 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 no. Or your 5-year-old, 6-year-old may be doing a lot of, again, using loud voice, shouting, maybe forming shorter mota sentences, but still using loud voice and shouting. And then 8-year-old, 9-year-old, they're all shouting and making a hell, right, in that room, as parents claim. So whatever the child is doing, the child is crying. Let me just keep it simple. The child is crying, going through a meltdown, right? And behind the child's cry, that means you are seeing what is happening on the physical plane. Behind the physical plane, there is an emotional plane, also a spiritual plane. Let me talk about the emotional plane here. There is an emotional level here. There is an emotional plane. So behind this child's cry, there was a need which made the child cry. So when a child is crying, the child has a need behind that cry. The child is going through a tantrum, is giving you a tantrum, is going through a meltdown because there was a need behind the child's cry. So what do we usually do when when the child is messing up, when the child is rolling on the floor in the supermarket? Oh my God, everybody is looking at me and you are rolling on the floor in the supermarket. Oh my God, you are such a bad boy. See, everybody is looking at you. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. You're such an arrogant child, or whatever it is, whatever you are saying. You know what you are saying. Come into awareness with what you are saying. That's the first step. Yeah. Now what is happening at that moment of time? We are asking the child to stop crying. Stop rolling on the floor. Stop pushing. Stop kicking. Stop punching. Stop banging. Right? But for the child, when you are saying stop doing this, your child understands it as, your child has a need right here. And whatever your child's need was, your child was just crying because there was a need. Your child was communicating his need through cries, through tantrums. Maybe your child was angry. Maybe your child was feeling shameful, embarrassed, irritated, frustrated, confused, restless, or scared, right? All these different emotions that even you go through. So when you are asking the child to stop whatever your child was doing, your child understands it as stop communicating. There was a need behind my tantrum, behind my cry. Oh, I should stop communicating. Oh, I should stop communicating my feelings. Oh, I should stop sharing my emotions. I was actually scared at that point of time. I was actually angry. I was helpless. I was feeling helpless. I was frustrated. I was irritated. Oh, I should not share all these with my parent. Oh, my mother cannot take all these emotions and I'm sharing this with my parent. Right? Though you did not want to do this intentionally. Remember, you did not want your child to stop sharing his feelings with you intentionally. You do not want to do it. You want your child to keep sharing his feelings, right? But when you are asking your child to stop doing what your child is doing, stop crying, stop shouting, stop kicking, stop banging, stop punching, stop kicking, all that thing, your child understands it as stop communicating, right? Your child understands it as stop communicating. And the same child is now maybe hit puberty, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, and your child completely knows how my mother would react if I share any of my feeling at this point of time. At puberty, remember, there are a lot of changes that happen at puberty. Your child is hit with individuality changes, psychology changes, mental changes, physical changes, bombarded with various feelings and emotions through the social circle, right? Everything is happening so much in your child's inside, but your child does not want to share his feelings because that was how your child was trained. Your child knows exactly what you would say. My mother doesn't even care about this, whatever I'm sharing. Because at some point of time when your child was 7-year-old, 8-year-old, you said, just leave about it, ignore, divert. So even your teenager thinks that my father will just ignore my feeling. Let me not even share this feeling with my father. Right? My mother will say, my mother may mock at me. Let me not do this, because when the child was 6 years old, maybe you laughed out. When the child was 3 years old, maybe you laughed out. Oh, when the child, maybe she fell down off the cycle and you are laughing, trying to create a hilarious scene there so that your child forgets that she fell down from the cycle. Why should you even try to make your child forget of whatever has happened, right? Things happen. We go through experiences and we got to learn from them. That's all. So yes, so your teenager will totally understand how you are going to actually react and respond when your child comes up to share any of his feelings. And this child at puberty, your child at puberty, again your teenager, creates a secret zone around himself or herself. And very rarely does he actually allow parents to enter into the secret zone. You can look into your own teenage life, or if not you, maybe your cousins or your friends or anybody around. Why? Because children know how their emotions, how their feelings are actually accepted by parents. Parents may mock, parents may laugh, parents may say, oh, this is so silly, right? Not giving importance, but for the child it was important. Even your 2.5-year-old knows that when you are giving something to your child, when you are giving your phone to your child for screen time, and you have a smile on your face, but your 2.5-year-old knows that you are actually angry inside. Why? Because children can understand emotions very, they understand emotions more and very precisely than what you are putting up on your face here. Maybe you just hit your child, maybe you just screamed at your child, and you are immediately conscious about what you have done and you are acting at peace, right? You want to create a mock, you just want to create a joke out of whatever has happened, out of your scream, and you hope that your child forgets that you yelled, that you screamed, but the emotional transfer has already happened to your child. Your child understands your emotions precisely. So even your 2.5-year-old understands that you are actually angry inside, even though you put up a nice smiling face and give the give the screen time or the phone to your child. The same way, even your teenager knows how his or her emotions will be accepted by the parents, right? So the first 7 years, the first 8 years, not just first 7, 8, every year, every moment is important. So until the child has, every moment that the child is growing up, all that has happened, all the experiences that have happened, all the tantrums that the child has created, and all the ways that the parent has tried to ignore and divert have become the big strong foundation for your child to not share any more of his feelings and emotions. He just keeps stuff to himself, right? She just keeps things to herself. She's not welcoming, she's not open to share things with people, more specifically with parents, right? So that is what is happening when you are ignoring or diverting or saying, stop, don't do that, right? First point, ignoring and diverting will create, will make your child disconnected from their own emotions, from his or her own emotions, right? And then you are getting disconnected from your child's emotions, you are getting disconnected from your child, from your child's behavior, and a whole lot of thing happens, right? Where you got to fix this piece in this puzzle is connect to your child's emotions. Let your child know that she's, whatever she's going through, right? She's going through, she's not that, but she's going through certain feeling, whatever feeling that she's going through. Let her come into awareness. Even you got to accept your child that, yes, my child is angry. Yes, my child is shouting. Yes, my child is going through this. Yes, my child is going through certain shame. Let me identify where that is coming from. Let me see where that is coming from, right? So this is a journey in itself. When the strong foundation is false foundation, when this foundation is so strongly layered and so false, and you are doing all sorts of things, reading stories, reading mythological stories, reading all these stories which teach moral values, which teach emotions, which teach good manners, bad manners, which teach good emotions, bad emotions, which teach sharing, which teach treating, how do you treat people, right? But how are you treating your child when your child is going through a meltdown? How are you treating your child when your child is going through a tantrum? So when this strong foundation is becoming a false foundation and you are going through all these courses which teach about feelings and emotions and good values and bad values and moral values and all these through stories and emotional intelligence classes and whatnot, even worksheets that teach emotions, games that teach emotions, yes, you can go for that as an added activity. But you have to first take care of what is the foundation that you are laying for your child through every experience that your child has with you. And most importantly, that's a conflicting experience. Most of the times your child is going through tantrums. Most of the time your child is saying no, right? So these children your child is learning from these experiences more than the worksheet, right? More than these stories. You are thinking, oh my God, this is such a nice story. I have to tweak the story a bit and teach more and more of moral values to my child. But your child is already learning a lot of stuff from the experiences that she is having with you, from the way you are resolving, from the way you are dealing with your child's tantrums at that point of time, right? So yes, and then the most important thing again goes back to your own inner child. The most important point is what you have to try to identify what is your internal trigger. So when your child is crying, the main thing why you say stop is because you get irritated. You feel your child is disturbing you. Maybe you are in an office meeting and something is happening. Everything is valid, right? Everything is valid in this world. And the main thing is you have to know more about what is happening and why it is happening. If you don't do that, and you're just living by default, then you are also parenting by default, right? Yeah. So the important point that you have to try to identify is identify your internal trigger. Yes, my child is crying, but what in me is getting triggered? Okay, I'm getting irritated with this sound. Okay, I'm getting frustrated seeing her banging on the floor, right? What is your internal trigger? Just go deep into that. This is again another reason why heal your inner child is very, very important, that I make parents go through in my course, right? Because when something is happening outside of you and you are reacting to it negatively or in a disturbed way, that is because you have an internal trigger point inside of you, based on some of the past experiences or childhood experiences that you've had. Maybe you have received a response which did not align with what you truly wished to have at that point of time, and it is the same thing that you are kind of reacting at this point of time towards your child. It goes deep. Maybe I'll make another video on inner child and healing your inner child and all that stuff. But the main takeaway from this video is identify your internal feeling, your internal trigger, and help your child in identifying and getting into this awareness mode of the feelings. Never ignore or divert your child's cries, right? To stay connected with me, do join the Facebook group that I've listed under this video in the description box. And there is also a link that takes you to this mini guide, Power Parenting Model. You just have to enter your email address and name, and you will get the guide straight in your inbox. And register even for my upcoming masterclass through the same link that I've mentioned below this video in the description box. Meet you in the next video. Cheers. Bye-bye.